Hi, it's John, and if you're watching this, then there's a very good chance that you asked me for the link to this video, in which case you have landed in the right place. If you didn't ask for the link and you're watching this, maybe you're just really lucky, because I'm going to talk about how to be able to give kick-ass presentations every single time. And the three things that tend to stop people, or that people get wrong about delivering kick-ass presentations. So let's get down to it. I'm going to share my screen with you here. Let's make sure you can see me too. So kick-ass presentations is the name of the game. How do we go about doing that? Well, first of all, we have to take a look at where people tend to go wrong. And one of the things that tends to stop people the most in terms of being able to do kick-ass presentations is fear. The mind killer, right? Fear. And we could also call that a lack of confidence, right? So fear and lack of confidence will often stop people from even getting started. The battle is lost before it's even been started, based on the mindset, based on the thinking about all of this. And often it's that people really are scared of getting themselves out there, scared of being judged, criticized, what kind of feedback they might get. Often it's because we don't like the way we look, we don't like the way we sound, and we think that other people are probably going to see that as well. And we don't want them confirming our negative judgments about ourselves, perhaps. So many reasons and so many things that could potentially stop you from being able to deliver kick-ass presentations just from even having fear around this. The other thing would be to have zero or basic presentation skills. I'll abbreviate here. So zero or basic presentation skills. Yep, sorry, you're basic. And that means that you really haven't been well trained in this. You might have some experience, or you're very limited, or maybe you've done a talk, maybe you got up to do show and tell in front of your classroom before, and that might be the limit of your experience. You don't actually know how to deliver a great presentation. And from some of what I'm seeing, like Clubhouse, right, is a really good example of this. I don't know if you're on it or not. If you're on Apple, you may well be. If you're not, then there's a good chance you're not. But it's a vocal platform. It's one where you have to speak and present. And some of the rooms that I'm getting invited to on there, oh my God, some people are really hard to listen to. I was going to use the B word, I'm not going to use it, but some people are really hard to listen to, and you end up maybe coming away from stuff that might actually be great content or great information, and because it's just hard to listen to. So this is an important part of like having some good presentation skills, being able to know how to structure stuff, having things make sense to people, putting the right information in the right place, answering the right questions in the right place, knowing how to handle all these things. All really important. And if you don't have those skills, it's going to be a problem. One of the other big issues and that people tend to go wrong with is having people tune out. So this comes back to the B word, which is boring, if you're wondering what it was. So people do get bored. People will turn off really quickly if they're not interested or excited about what you're talking about. If you're not making sense, or if it's monotonous, if it's like having your granny over for a cup of tea, it's like, it's nice and you have a nice chat, but you know, it's not going to be engaging for everybody. It's okay for a while, but then maybe you want to have deeper conversations, something with a bit more engagement. So whilst there's nothing wrong with having granny over for tea, I highly encourage you to do that if your granny's still around. Then just remember, not everyone wants to join in with that conversation, and it's probably not the most exciting thing you're ever going to do, unless you have a kick-ass granny as well. So moving on from grannies, what are the cures for all of this? You know, because the problems are, if you have all these, this is the big three really. If you have all these things going on, you're not going to get the attention. You're going to find yourself feeling invisible online. You're going to be ignored. You're going to feel forgettable, and that's not where you want to be. So you'll be on the side of invisible. You see this person here is on the side of invisible, ignored, and forgettable. And if I move my big head out of the way, we want to get you to the side of being visible and noticed and memorable. That's what we're actually aiming for there, getting you across that chasm without falling into the river below. So how do we do that? How do we get you from the red side to the green side? Well, the first thing we have to do, let me change my colors here. The first thing we have to do is create credibility. Again, I'm going to abbreviate, and trust. Credibility and trust are the things that we need. And for those of you well educated in Aristotelian rhetoric, you will know that this also is the ethos side of the equation. That's what we need. Credibility and trust. And how are we going to do that? The first thing we have to do is mindset. We need to work on the mindset, the thinking about it, our own beliefs about ourselves and what we can do. We also have to focus on our brand, our own personal brand, how we feel about ourselves, what we're projecting out into the world, how people see us and how we want to be seen, all part of your branding. And to make sure that we have the right habits to be able to do that, that we are showing up in our lives on a daily basis in a way that is going to be able to support that and keep us moving in the right direction. How do we solve zero or basic presentation skills? Well, practice is going to help, but even if you join Toastmasters group, you will get some experience, but you may not get all the pro tools and tips that you need to be able to really advance you along. So we want to get some real skills. I'm going to spell it with a Z because it's serious. So it's going to give you some real skills, something that you can work with and that you're going to be able to deliver competently and in a way that makes sense, in a way that people are going to relate to and think, okay, that's well put together, and that make sure you have the right structure, the right delivery, and the right language. In fact, those are the very three things that we need to make sure that we do have. Structure, so you know how to start a presentation, whether it's a speech or whether it's an online presentation or a Zoom meeting. You know how to start, you know how to move through into the main body, and how to finish things off in a way that's really going to work, be attention grabbing, and do the job. You're also going to work on delivery, like how you do those things. So how you do this stuff is really important. And so some of the tools and techniques that you can use to be able to do that within the structures are going to make a big difference. And part of that as well is also the language. So being able to actually use things like metaphors and making sure that they fit with what you're actually doing, and that you can make sure that your language is worded in a way that's going to fit well, that is easily going to be understood by people and appropriate to the kinds of audiences that you are talking or presenting to. So then we come to people tuning out, the big B word, the boredom. How do we cure that? What's the fix for this? Well, this is the charisma element. This is where you need to work on gaining some charisma. And that's the thing that's going to be very much about you. And there are things that you can do to do that, but your personality has to come to the forefront here. I don't know if you ever watch any of those like talent shows, Got Talent or X Factor or anything like that. And you might get a judge like Simon Cowell, for example. Simon Cowell may say something as advice to someone who's just performed along the lines of, be you, but be more you, right? We've probably all heard that before on one of these shows. Be you, but be more you. But what does that even mean? Well, really, it means turn up the dials. We want to stay true to who you are, but turn it up. Don't hold yourself back, as so many people do. Turn things up to a much higher level. Get the energy up there. Get yourself out to people in a way that they can connect and relate to you, and show that you're not having barriers between them. You're not holding yourself back. You are being everything that you can be as fully as you can be. And it can be a real journey to get there, but it's important to do that, especially in your presentations. So one of the ways we do that is with stories. We need to make sure we have some stories. We know how to structure them, how to use them appropriately and what we're talking about, and how to have them make sense and be relatable, be very visual for people, so people can feel like, while you're telling a story, that they're in it, that they're a part of it, like they're almost there. We also need to be able to not only teach information, but to entertain. So we'll call that edutain. You need to become the edutainer. And that is a critical part here for modern presenting that you have to do. It's not enough just to teach information. You have to be able to do it in a way that is engaging, informative, and enjoyable, fun. Having jokes in there, making people laugh, is a really great way to do that. It's not everybody's way, but everyone can usually add a bit of playfulness, a bit of humor to what they do, And that makes, when we're having fun, we learn so much better. We also want to make sure we have the energy. Now this will tie everything together, is that you have your own personal state management worked on, that you are in the appropriate energy to deliver the kind of content or talk that you're doing for whatever, whether it's a meeting or whether it's a presentation, whether you are pitching for investments. You need to be in the right appropriate energy, and you're going to be looking to lead other people, be the energy leader. So it's essential to work on this energy element as well. So altogether, these are the key points and elements of being able to give kick-ass presentations. If you like what you've just seen and heard and you would like to know more, I'm going to be working with a small group of 5 to 10 people over a course of 10 weeks on all of these things, moving out of the fear and the lack of confidence into the credibility and trust, moving out of zero or basic presentation skills into having skills and being able to deliver like a pro, and moving out of that people tuning out and getting bored into charisma and great energy in your presentations. Then all you need to do is type the words kick-ass into the comments and I will send you all the details. So don't have to make any commitment here, but if you want to know more and you think you might like to be part of this 10-week program, just type kick-ass into the comments box and I'm going to send you all the details. That's it from me. If you do have any more questions about anything I've talked about today, type kick-ass into the comments box. We can have a chat about it and see what the right next step might be for you. I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully on some more videos very soon.